I think it's really important to really get outside and be outdoors and really working with materials with your hands, because I feel like you can get more excited about it and you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I wanted to do. And instead of just reading through a book and it's just like, okay, well, it's concrete, you put some things and make it, yeah. So I think it's just, you can get a lot more excited about just going out and seeing exactly what you will be working with and what you're doing, and I think you get a lot more ideas when you actually can see visibly like the different structures and different parts that come into play.
Ancient technologies are really interesting because they were optimized through human experience and not through modern tools like computation, for example. And the best of those materials in the ancient world that are still available today are the best materials, the most durable materials of that world. For example, Roman concrete has lasted for 2,000 plus years, and a lot of it is still remaining today, like the Pantheon, this 1,000-year-old castle, for example. And even though they were slowly optimized the human experience and very durable, they're a lot cleaner usually than modern materials.
So even if a student isn't going to be like me and study Roman concrete passionately for a non-trivial portion of their education, I think it's still really important for them to come to Italy for a couple of reasons. And the main reason for that is the experience you get through an immersive cultural excursion is very different from if I were to try and teach you these things back at MIT, even if we had the same exact hands-on experiences in terms of creating the ancient artwork, in terms of creating the ancient mortars, and these kinds of things. And one of the main reasons for that, I think, is because when you're here and it's immersive, you get the time to reflect on it. You get the time to think about what you're doing and piece it together in ways that you might not have away from the actual fieldwork experience. You get to interact with these ancient structures that we don't have in the United States.
So one example of sustainability that I thought was particularly relevant that we learned about was when we mixed the mortar, and we had to optimize strength as well as in sustainability by choosing materials that didn't require high energy inputs and instead substituting ones that were natural or locally sourced that didn't have to be cooked. And I think that that's an optimization problem that is important and has wide implications for industry and infrastructure in the future.
Yeah, well, I've really enjoyed the ability that we have to digitally model all these different artifacts and pieces of history, and then be able to use this digital medium as a way to involve people in the history and get more people to understand what has come before us and how we can learn from that and really preserve it for the coming years. I think personally at MIT we have lots of great history and often things that even us students don't know much about, and I think there's a lot that we could do to use these mediums such as photogrammetry and other materials analyzation to create some sort of exhibits that display or exhibit this history for any student or a person who's passing through our campus and wants to learn more about it.
All the science and art and technology and engineering that we've always been learning about for the past 12 years of our lives in action and actually being carried out. And for me that's super exciting because I've loved history, but it's always something in a textbook. I've loved science, it's always something in the classroom. So actually being able to go with this program and with inspiring people makes that whole experience come to life and actually starts making me think of, oh my gosh, what can I actually do with this? I thought this was like something that only the archaeologists do or only the scientists do. That's something that's like totally out of reach, but now it's like it's actually in my reach and I'm able to do that, especially with all the people around. Like when I got here, I didn't know that Professor Masic and his friends Roberto and Gianni and Marco are actually like art restorers, and they restore these amazing places like St. Peter's Basilica and Bernini's colonnade around it. And just knowing that we have the opportunities to actually explore this whole world of conservation, that I think is the most inspiring to me. And having been able to participate in this program has kind of launched me forward into that mindset.
When it comes to fieldwork, I think for students to understand complex aspects of materials, it's sometimes very difficult to do it on the blackboard. you really need to try to feel it with your hands. And the importance of lab work and field work in this specific case of ancient technologies and ancient materials is essential, because only in this way we can experience the beauty, but also aspects of and different features that you can detect only with your own senses. The field is probably the easiest way to stimulate their curiosity, but also give them necessary tools and perceptions of these materials, so that then this can be a starting point for design something that is relevant to our modern life.